The lighting in our living room is always perfect. Warm, amber hues bounce off the Italian marble countertops. My husband, David, insisted on the dimmer switches because, he says, ambience is the soul of a home. Everything about our life is curated. The family portraits on the wall show a couple that hasn't aged a day in 10 years. We are the gold standard of our social circle. David is the visionary architect, and I am the supportive wife who handles the firm's public relations. I reach out to straighten a picture frame. It's a photo of us in Santorini. We look radiant, but as I touch the glass, I notice my hand is shaking. It's been shaking for 3 days. It started when I found the receipt for a designer diaper bag in the pocket of David's charcoal suit. We don't have children. We stopped trying 5 years ago after the third failed IVF cycle. David told me he was okay with it. He told me that just us was enough. He held me while I cried, whispering that he didn't need a legacy. He only needed me. I trusted him. I built my entire world around that trust. I gave up my own career in journalism to ensure his firm became a powerhouse. I am the one who manages the perfect David brand. Every gala, every interview, every polished smile is my handiwork. He calls me his rock. But lately, the rock is starting to feel like a tombstone. He's been working late every Tuesday and Thursday. He says it's the new museum project downtown. He says the deadlines are killing him. Tonight, he comes home smelling of expensive cologne and vanilla. Not my vanilla. This is a lighter, sweeter scent. He kisses my forehead and tells me I look tired. He suggests I take a spa weekend. He's being so kind, so attentive, that it makes my stomach churn. It's the kind of kindness that feels like a bribe. I watch him walk away to his home office. And for the first time in a decade, I feel like a stranger in my own house. I felt invisible as he closed the door, his mind clearly miles away from the woman standing in the kitchen. I wait until I hear the shower running. My heart is hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. I go to his office. It's usually locked, but tonight he was careless. The drawer of his mahogany desk is slightly ajar. I find a burner phone tucked inside a hollowed-out book. There are no names in the contact list, only initials. M is the most frequent. There are photos. My breath hitches. It's a baby, a girl. She has David's eyes. She has the same distinct cleft in her chin that David hates about himself, but that I've always loved. That was the moment everything changed. The world didn't tilt. It shattered. I wasn't just a wife anymore. I was a spectator watching my own life burn down. I realized the museum project doesn't exist. The late nights weren't spent over blueprints. They were spent in a nursery I didn't know about, with a woman I've never met. I put the phone back, exactly where I found it. I walk back to the kitchen and finish pouring my wine. When David comes out in his robe, smiling, I smile back. It is the best performance of my life. The next 48 hours are a blur of calculated silence. I don't confront him. I don't scream. Instead, I use the tracking software we installed on each other's phones for safety. On Tuesday, he tells me he has a late-night site visit. I watch his little blue dot on the map move across the city. He isn't at the museum site. He's in a quiet, upscale residential neighborhood 3 miles away. I drive there in a rental car I picked up this afternoon. I sit in the shadows, parked behind a thick oak tree, watching a small, charming townhouse. The door opens. David steps out carrying a trash bag. A young woman, maybe 25, stands in the doorway. She's wearing a silk robe. She looks tired but happy. Then she hands him a bundle. The baby. David takes the child with a practiced ease that breaks my heart. He kisses the baby's forehead. He kisses the woman's cheek. It's a domestic tableau of pure, unadulterated betrayal. He looks more at home there than he ever does with me. He looks like a man who Finally has everything he ever wanted. I stay in the car until he drives away. My knuckles are white on the steering wheel. I could leave. I could drive to a lawyer right now. My mind is spinning with a different kind of hunger. I want to see her. I want to see the secret before it's hidden again. I wait until the lights in the townhouse dim. I wait until the sun begins to peek over the horizon. I am cold. I am hungry. And I am fueled by a rage that feels like ice water in my veins. They thought I wouldn't fight back. They thought I was the docile wife who would never look beneath the surface. At 8 a.m., I see the woman come out. She's pushing a stroller toward the local park. I follow at a distance. She sits on a bench, scrolling through her phone, looking exactly like the person who just dismantled my entire existence. I walk up to her. I don't look like a woman who hasn't slept. I look like the polished professional PR maven I am. I wear my most expensive sunglasses and a coat that costs more than her rent. I sit on the same bench. She's beautiful, I say, nodding toward the stroller. The woman, Maya, smiles. She has no idea who I am. She looks at me with the innocent pride of a new mother. Thank you. She's 4 months old. She has her father's eyes. I feel a sharp, stabbing pain in my chest. I'm sure he's very proud. I reply, my voice steady. He is, she says, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. He's a very busy man, an architect, but he makes time every day. He's actually looking for a bigger house for us right now. The audacity of it is breathtaking. He's buying her a house with the money we earned together. He's building a new life while I'm still living in the old one. I look down at the baby. The little girl reaches out and grabs my finger. Her grip is strong. In that moment, I don't hate the child. I hate the man who used her as a tool for his double life. Maya continues to talk, telling me how they met at a gallery opening, how David told her he was separated and going through a long, painful divorce. I listen to the lies fall from her lips, lies David fed her like candy. I realize she isn't just a mistress. She's another victim of his curation. He's been managing her just like he manages his clients. He told her I was the villain. He told her I was the one holding him back. I felt a strange, sickening bond with this woman. We were both being played by a master architect of deception. I let go of the baby's hand. I hope you get everything you deserve, Maya, I say. She beams at me, thanking me for the kind words. She has no idea I've just declared war. I go home and lock myself in the guest room. I don't cry anymore. The time for tears ended in that park. Now it's about the collapse. I start digging. I hire a private investigator I know from my journalism days, someone who doesn't ask questions if the check is large enough. Within 24 hours, the files start hitting my inbox. It's worse than I thought. David hasn't just been cheating. He's been embezzling from our joint firm to fund this second family. He's been siphoning off consultation fees into an offshore account in Maya's name. The emotional collapse hits me when I find the sonogram pictures in a digital cloud he forgot to log out of on our shared tablet. There are videos of him at the hospital. He's crying as the baby is born. He's holding Maya's hand. He's saying, "Finally, my real life begins." Those words are a physical blow. I spent a decade being his real life. I spent a decade sacrificing my health and my sanity to support his dreams. Every IVF injection, every hormone-induced mood swing, every night spent staring at a negative test. He watched me go through that, knowing he had a backup plan. I see him that night at dinner. He's talking about a business trip to Chicago. I know he's actually taking Maya to a coastal resort for a baby moon they missed. I watch him eat his steak, his hands steady, his face calm. He is a sociopath of the highest order. He asks me why I'm not eating. I tell him I have a bit of a stomach bug. He reaches across the table to touch my hand. and I have to fight the urge to pull away and scream. His touch feels like lead. "You're so strong, Elena," he says, his voice dripping with faux admiration. "I don't know what I'd do without you." I look him dead in the eye. "You'll never have to find out, David." He smiles, thinking I'm being romantic. He has no idea the Elena he knows is already dead. She died on that park bench. The woman sitting across from him now is a ghost, and ghosts have nothing left to lose. I realize that the only way to heal is to burn the temple he built to himself. I spend the next week in a fever dream of productivity. I am not the victim. I am the architect now. I meet with my lawyer, a shark who specializes in high-asset divorces and white-collar crime. I hand over the embezzlement evidence. I hand over the photos of the second house, the birth certificate where David is listed as the father, and the financial trail. I don't just want a divorce. I tell her, I want his reputation. I want the firm. I want him to look in the mirror and see nothing. But I need more than a legal victory. I need a public one. David is obsessed with his image. He is slated to receive the Architect of the Year award at the city's most prestigious gala in 3 days. The entire industry will be there. The cameras will be rolling. He expects me to be on his arm, the elegant wife in a floor-length gown, the silent partner in his success. I tell him I've already bought my dress. I tell him it's a surprise. I reach out to Maya one more time. I use a fake email address, pretending to be a legal assistant for David's firm. I tell her that David has a special surprise for her and the baby at the gala. I tell her he wants to finally go public with their relationship because the divorce is finalized. I provide her with a VIP invitation and a car service. She is ecstatic. She believes the fairy tale is finally coming true. She thinks she's winning. The night of the gala arrives. David is radiant in his tuxedo. He's preening, shaking hands, soaking up the adulation of his peers. He keeps looking at me, checking to make sure I'm playing my part. I am. I'm smiling. I'm laughing. I'm the perfect accessory. But underneath the silk of my dress, I am vibrating with a cold, electric energy. I've ensured that the tribute video for his career has been updated. The AV technician was surprisingly easy to bribe. As we take our seats at the head table, the lights dim. The board chairman stands up to give a glowing introduction. He calls David a man of integrity and a pillar of the community. David stands up, ready to walk toward the stage. He squeezes my hand. "This is for us," he whispers. I lean in and whisper back, "No, David, this is for the truth." He looks at me, confused, just as the giant screens behind the podium flicker to life. The video starts with the usual shots of his buildings. But after 30 seconds, the music shifts. The screen cuts to a photo of the designer diaper bag receipt. Then the photos of Maya and the baby. Then the offshore bank statements showing the embezzled funds. The room goes silent. It's a heavy, suffocating silence. David freezes. His face turns a sickly shade of gray. He looks at the screen, then at me, then at the audience. And then the doors at the back of the ballroom open. Maya walks in carrying the baby. She's wearing a beautiful white dress, looking for David. She sees him on stage. She sees the screen. The timing is surgical. She stops in her tracks as she sees her own face, and the word embezzled in giant red letters on the screen. The reporters, sensing the kill, turn their cameras from the stage to the woman in the back. The flashes begin to pop like gunfire. David tries to speak, but no sound comes out. He looks like a fish gasping for air. I stand up slowly. I don't look at him. I look at the crowd. I look at the board members who are already texting their lawyers. I look at the donors who are pulling their support in real time. I walk toward the exit, my heels clicking rhythmically on the hardwood floor. I pass Maya. Our eyes meet for a split second. She looks terrified. I feel a pang of pity. But I don't stop. She chose a man who was already taken. I'm just the one who showed her what he's actually made of. The fallout is a masterpiece of destruction. The firm collapses within 48 hours. The board fires David and sues him for the return of the funds. The district attorney's office opens an investigation into the offshore accounts. David's name, once synonymous with elegance and innovation, becomes a punchline in the local news. He tries to call me hundreds of times. He sends emails pleading for one last conversation. I block every number. I don't need to hear his voice ever again. I move out of our perfect house and into a small, sun-drenched apartment by the water. I don't have the Italian marble or the dimmer switches, but I have a lock on the door that only I have the key to. I sell my jewelry and use the proceeds to start my own consulting firm. My first client, one of David's former rivals who wants to rebuild his brand with honesty as the core value. It's poetic. It's the kind of irony that keeps me warm at night. A month later, I see a photo of David in a tabloid. He looks haggard. He's living in a cheap rental. Maya left him. Apparently, the fairy tale lost its luster when the money ran out and the criminal charges poured in. He has nothing. No wife, no mistress, no career, and a mountain of legal debt. He thought he was the architect of his own destiny, but he forgot that I was the one who built the foundation. He built his life on sand, and I simply let the tide come in. I sit on my balcony, watching the sunset. It's not a curated sunset. It's messy and orange and real. I think about the baby girl with David's eyes. I hope she grows up to be nothing like him. I hope she grows up to be a woman who doesn't need a man to tell her she exists. For the first time in my life, I don't feel like a rock or a supportive wife. I feel like myself. It's a quiet, lonely feeling, but it's the most honest thing I've ever felt. Sometimes losing your family is the price of finding yourself.